Hi there, I'm Dr. Fran from Awaken Chiropractic, and today I want to share with you the very first exercise in Somato Respiratory Integration. Now, Somato Respiratory Integration, which is SRI for short, are exercises that we do alongside the network spinal analysis care, so the entrainments when you come into the office. Now, these SRI exercises primarily help you to connect with your body away from the sessions or in between the sessions, which will help your nervous system and your brain tune into where your system is storing tension that you might not be aware of, and helping your body to connect and release that tension between visits. Now, I want to share with you the very first exercise, and there are 12 in total. Now, the first exercise is very simply just tuning in with your body and finding out where in your body you feel connected and where in your body you feel disconnected. Now, when we do the exercise, we use two hands, and the palm of the hand is like your eye. So it's the area of your hand that when you place it on your body, on your torso, that's the part that's really going to focus inside and inward. And we have one hand on top of the other. Now, we work with three areas. The first area is at the very, very top, which is just below. You've got your two collarbones here, and that's that spot there. So you would place the palm of your hand on that area. Now, the second area is at the bottom of the rib cage. You'll find that triangle where the ribs come and join, and the very center point, the palm of the hand goes right in the center, and this is position 2. And position 3 is the belly button, and that's position 3. And you want to make sure that your hands, they stay closed. So all your fingers are like this, and then they're one on top of the other, as this really helps focus your attention as you work. Now, what we're going to be doing is we're tuning in with these three areas, and we're going to bring our breath and our awareness as we connect to these areas. And as we breathe into these areas, we're going to find that some areas we can connect with and we can bring the breath to, and other areas we find it more challenging and it feels quite difficult and shut. And it's really important that we distinguish exactly which areas we can connect to and which areas that we can disconnect to. And nothing that you find or what comes up in the body is wrong. It's just how your system is presenting. So it's not that we need to change the areas that are disconnected. All we're simply doing is acknowledging that we have disconnected parts and parts that our system is not in tune with or aligned with at the moment. So I want to share with you the very first exercise and how it goes. So ideally, we would want to be on our backs with our knees bent on a relatively hard surface. So try not to do it on a bed or on the sofa, but try and do it maybe on the floor, or if you have a bench, that's great. But you want to have your head fairly flat on the floor, and try and have your back fairly straight. And we're just going to start with bringing our hands to that position 1, and keep your elbows tucked in. And what we're going to do is just take a focused breath and try and get all the breath, all the awareness, all the movement and energy underneath this part. So the rest of the torso we want to kind of not eliminate, but just ignore for the time being, because we want all our attention to go right up here. So when I take a breath in, and out, I want to make sure all of that breath and energy and focus goes under here. So when I did that, and you might have watched me do that, there was parts of this area we're trying to get involved too. So I'll try again. And this area for me feels, I can get the breath there, it feels a little bit challenging, and it's just something to be aware of. It feels a bit kind of bumpy as I take the breath in, it's not very smooth. My mind, I'm losing focus, it's finding it quite difficult to focus here. So all those things are telling me I might be a little bit disconnected here. Now we're going to move then to the second area, and taking a breath. as I did that, I found it easier to focus. I felt like there was more breath coming into my body, more breath coming into here first. I felt there was more smoothness as the breath came in. So I feel overall more connected here. I'll just try one more time. So this part here definitely feels more connected for me, easier for me to get the breath into than this part at the top. So then we'll move to position 3, over the belly button, and we'll try again. Again, focusing on this area. So as I was breathing in here, it initially started okay, then it felt like it was shaking a bit towards the top of the breath. I had pain coming up around here and tension in my shoulders, which is making it harder for me to focus here. So at the moment, I find the easiest area for me to connect with is here. And the most disconnected area, I would say, is down here. This felt quite disconnected. But it could be a toss-up between the top and the bottom at the moment. So you need to identify which part is the most connected, which part is the most disconnected, and we're going to work with only the connected and the disconnected part. So for me, I'm going to choose this area as my most connected and this area as my most disconnected part. Now when we come to doing the exercise, we're going to take a breath. So we always start and finish with the most connected part, and we're going to alternate breaths between the two areas. And all we're doing is we're just observing. So really we're taking lots of breath into the most connected part, and then we're going into the disconnected part to take a breath and seeing what happens. So as I do it, I'll try and share with you what I'm experiencing so you may have similar things. So I'm going to start with a breath here. And then move to the disconnected part and take a breath. And then move back to the connected part. The connected. And the disconnected. And the connected one more time. And then I'm going to place my hands down by my sides and just observe. So the first thing that I notice is that I find it slightly easier to get breath here. it feels more relaxed in my body. And as I got to the end of the exercise, this was having less effect. So there was almost like there was a little bit less connection here, more openness here. I think as there was like this sharing experience between the two, rather than this being so connected and this being so disconnected. I feel calmer in my mind, less chatty. My body just feels quite ready to just switch off, actually. And that's the exercise. And afterwards, when you've finished, you should sit for a few moments just to really observe and just let your body breathe naturally and just see what you notice, rather than kind of rush back up to seated and on to the next thing. So that's the exercise, the very first exercise of SRI. And the aim is not to change or manipulate anything. We're simply tuning in with our body, finding out what's working, what's not working so well, and just allowing more of a sharing to happen. And I think the main experience for me specifically was how much more relaxed and open I felt after doing it. I felt like my body was ready to switch off. So I suggest that this is one that's great for you before bed. I tend to do this every day just before bed because it helps my nervous system go from a state of busy, thinking, into, right, this is sleep mode. We can start relaxing and unwinding and allowing your nervous system then to have the best possible chance of regenerating when you're sleeping. So I suggest having a go, doing it at least every day for a week. Just before bed, ideally. If you can't, that's fine. Do it at another time, but trying to do it every day for a week and just seeing what you notice. You'll also notice a pattern starting to emerge. So every time you tune in with one of these three areas, you'll find one is often the most connected, one is often the most disconnected. And that's something that's very important to be aware of to begin with, because then you're learning about things that are going on in your body that you might not have been aware of before. And this whole work with the NSA and the SRI is about how you can gain self-awareness so that your system can be working much more efficiently for you in connecting to and releasing tension unconsciously. So we're initially starting to bring much more of a conscious awareness to what's going on so that your brain can reconnect and your body has much better chance of regenerating. So have a go. And then when you're in for your next visit, you can let me know what your experience has been. I will see you very soon.